Welcome to part 2. I'm standing here looking up at the Wish Tower, and there you get a closer view of it. So we're now going to turn the other way, and part 2 we will walk to the pier and then back along the top level of the promenades. You'll note all the palm trees we have here and this piece of statuary. Let's have a look and see what it says. Taking a stone for a walk, it says. December 2000. There we go. There's a runner heading towards me as well now. Excuse me. We have these rather Art Deco looking waiting shelters along the lower end of the promenade, and we'll walk along behind a row of beach huts here. It actually provides quite a nice shelter from the sun at the moment. There's some nice red hot pokers in the gardens there. All very strange. Quite a few people who are possibly homeless about. Morning, rather you than me.
It feels very hard today.
I'll bet. There's another one of these. They were very nicely appointed at one time, but unfortunately the salt air, the wind, vandalism. I think Eastbourne's looking rather sorry for itself at the moment. But here is the bandstand. When we were on the Dotto train, we used to go along the top promenade. We had to drive round that top level round the back, even while there was a concert on. That was so dangerous. This used to be the central bandstand. We used to have 3. There was one at the Redoubt, excuse me, there was one up on the Western Lawns, and this was the central bandstand built during the 1930s. I've always thought of it as being at the tail end of Art Deco, but the official description, I believe, is now then Neo-Greco style. Nearly Greek? I don't know. But we're going to go a lot of building work is being done at the moment. It's in very grave need of restoration. I'm looking for something in particular here, but whether I find it or not, I don't know. I think maybe might have to look up top, but I'll wait for that. The tide well and truly on its way out now. Up past 5 in the morning, and the world and his wife got up with me. I bet I could come here at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd still be in a crowd. Never mind. Some more of these rather sadly dilapidated bits and pieces. Anyway, there you can see the sun rising above the Eastbourne Pier, which was opened, I think, firstly in 1870, 1872, something like that. And at the landward end of the pier, round about there and where the Queen's Hotel now stands, they discovered the remains of an old Roman villa. The pier has been added to over the years. We did have a 1,000-seater theatre at the end of it at one time. That burnt down in 1970 and was replaced by the building you see there. And right up at the very top, where the current owner of the pier, Sheikh Gulza, I think his name is, he's got a thing about gold, so he's painted all the domes gold. But they restored the staircase, and there's a camera obscura there, but I don't know if the public have access to it. If you don't know what a camera obscura is, it's all done by mirrors. Way up in the top of that tower you see there's a big mirror, and it's you go and stand around a big table and the image is multiplied, so you see a 3D 360 view of the seafront on the table in front of you. The Victorians loved it. They want a close-up view of who's on the seafront. Morning. Don't say good morning then, I don't mind. Where you see those canopies or what have you, in the 1920s we had quite a large pavilion built. That was destroyed by fire in 2014, and about 20 years or so before that, this end of the pier was restored to its Victorian condition. So let's, if you're not quite sure what people are up to, then avoid them. But I'm coming up here to show you what COVID-19 has meant. This bit here would have a particular display on it. And this here is our world famous, and I mean world famous, carpet gardens.
Playing like Russian roulette with the crab, the spider crab, and you put it so fingers on your picture.
Absolutely gone to rack and ruin. This has absolutely got to be the saddest I think I've ever seen Eastbourne. The gap at the end of the block where the Claremont Hotel stood, until just before Christmas last year when it burnt down. And here is one of Decimus Burton and his son's original Eastbourne buildings. They wanted to build a whole town here of buildings like this, and they were going to call it Burlington-on-Sea, I think. But the Dukes of Cavendish, I think, put the lid on that. But the Burtons went to St Leonard's, and there are some fine examples of their buildings in St Leonard's. This hotel recently has been owned by the group that owns Shearings, and probably accounts for at least 25% of all British coach holidays, who last Friday announced they were going into administration and all their hotels, coach operations and everything would close immediately. So this is now literally a dead end. And it's very sad. You do begin to wonder where and how it's all going to end. I don't know what's going on at the pier. Whether he's hoping that people might be able to start visiting again, I don't know. Anyway, we'll go as far as the pier entrance and then I'll turn again. That is indeed a very sad sight. Yes, they'd replaced this entrance in the 1930s and so with a bit of an Art Deco style entrance. Excuse me. But it was never really in keeping with the pier. But there's the entrance, and there it is, all locked up. So I could hear somebody singing just now. But I'll make my way back up here. I want to come along. We'll go around the top end of the bandstand if we can. I don't know if you can see that. There's a lady over there singing, giving us some morning entertainment. Mind you, she's happy. If she's a member of the staff of the Burlington who's just lost their job, that's probably all she can do. But you see how early you have to get up to see these things. Down there is what is now the seafront end of Terminus Road. Used to be known as Victoria Place. You follow that straight the way down through and you will come to the railway station and the main road out of town towards London. There's something very soothing about listening to the sound of the sea. There's several blocks of flats on the other side of the road, but this is the main seafront hotel district. You've seen the Grand. The building over there on the other side was, I'm sure, the Cavendish Hotel. But it appears to be all shut up now. Which of course it would be. Yes. 1905, that building. That's the Chatsworth Hotel, that one. Another one of Gould's art buildings over there, the Lions, the Mansion Hotel, with the Cumberland next to it. And the Cavendish is the next one along from the Cumberland. I'm hoping we can get through here and go round the back of the bandstand once again. I've no doubt there will be some pretty floral arrangements there. You can see as we walk along how a lot of cracking. But there's a nice view of the stage. Very sad to see it in this state. Ah yes, there's the foundation stone at any rate, opened by the Right Honourable Lord Leconfield. 1935. And we're just going to have a pan around here. Eastbourne's once lovely, elegant seafront in a sadly rather shambolic state. And what I wanted to show you, unfortunately, is obviously in a part of the bandstand where we can't go. The gentleman's name rather embarrassingly escapes me at the moment, but there is a memorial plaque, and it's to a gentleman who was a bandsman, a well-known bandsman in Eastbourne, and he was playing in the band on the Titanic and went down with the ship, and so there's a little plaque in his honour which is supposed to be the bandstand, and I've looked where the public have been allowed today and unfortunately couldn't find him. Well, here we have the 8th Duke of Devonshire, who is credited with being the father of modern day Eastbourne. Rather a grumpy old Joe when you look at him. Mind you, I'm not surprised with all those seagulls that keep popping on him. Now, I'm going to come around the other side of him, because that is road down there, Devonshire Place. I'll just turn to have a proper look. Was the original approach to the seafront from the station, built by the Dukes of Cavendish, the Dukes of Devonshire I should say, all members of the Cavendish family, and it was a grand avenue leading from the railway station to the seafront. But you'll see there he appears to have a newspaper in his left hand, and I always used to tell the people on the town tour that after having sat there for many years getting all grumpy and getting put on, somebody decided to try and make his day, so they gave him a newspaper to read, and it was a copy of the Sun. Now, just for those of you that don't know, the Sun became notorious for having photographs of topless girls on page 3. I always used to say to the people on the tour that he was given a newspaper, and the reason why he was looking so extra special grumpy was because he eagerly opened it looking for page 3 and found it had been took away. And there is the Cavendish Hotel, quite a grand building. As we make our way back along the top level, we're back with the 3 levels of promenade. Gulzar's got another one. It just calls it the Lions Hotel. That I think used to be the Albany. But once again here you see lovely palm trees. And as I say, temporarily we'll have 3 levels of promenade again here. That building you're looking at opposite there, the view, was another controversial building, put up in the 60s. It was the Transport and General Workers Union Convalescent Hotel and Conference Centre. Down here for a minute. It's about, I'm guessing, 5:45 in the morning or thereabouts, and heading out. Some paddle boarders. Look at that. Now you see, if you didn't come on these walks with me, you wouldn't see any of that. So many people out taking exercise. To be quite honest, I think the time has come where we've just got to say, blow it. Let's get everything back on track, open up and get on with it. Mentally, I don't think the country can cope with it much longer. And certainly not economically. We've lost too much already. The man with a shed load of metal detectors just going down there. Now, I'm not going to take a walk down there because, to be quite honest, with so much building work going on, it's not in a good enough condition to show you. But what we can do from here is just zoom in, and I'll get into the shade. That's it. The sun's not behind me, and I can see. We'll zoom down that road there, because that's the bottom end of Carlisle Road, but you might just be able to see down the end the Winter Garden, and part behind it the Congress Theatre. Well, the Congress was built in 1963, and they said, always used to say, because the bus company that was Eastbourne Corporation at the time were making so much profit, that the bus company built the Winter Garden. That's now been recently refurbished, but all these buildings down there, and there's the Winter Garden at the end, that dates back to the late 1800s when Eastbourne was developing as a bit of a resort. There used to be a freshwater seawater swimming pool on the site of those buildings opposite, the Devonshire Mansions, and they were knocked down some years ago, and the architect who designed those buildings, in actual fact, was a friend of mine. So there we go, little personal touch, and with that I think would be a good place to end today's walk, and I hope you've enjoyed it.